Tani from Q24's Alpha Jury. Today we are showing support for our sisters with endometriosis, okay?
My name is Arti and I'm an endometriosis advocate. I battled endometriosis for over 28 years. And I'm an image consultant and an esthetician.
So what got you into advocacy, other than the fact that obviously you're an Endo Warrior? I mean, there are those who do have this condition but aren't necessarily as vocal as you are. So what triggered you into that?
I think what the biggest trigger was, obviously now, in the current times, things have changed a lot. Back then, I wish we knew and we had accessibility to what we have now. Our lives would have been so different, because endometriosis, apart from it being such a debilitating illness, it strips so much of your life away from you that I didn't want the next generation to go through stuff like that. I didn't want their lives, they're our future. I didn't want their lives being stripped off so much that endometriosis stripped us off. And so I thought, let me become, it's either look, you play the victim or you play the warrior. I chose to be the warrior, and advocacy comes with its own ballgame. But I said, let me be the voice for the voiceless in whatever I can do through my journey.
And you say, are those hurdles that you face trying to spread awareness, trying to create, changes or policy changes, in health that you're facing from time to time?
Well, the biggest challenge, obviously, which is not time to time, it's basically non-stop, is the fundings, Not even fundings for advocacy. Like, I do all my advocacy work that I do is all pro bono. I wish we would get paid for it, because it's expensive. Your time, your effort, your research, learning, everything. Advocacy is not like, oh, I woke up one day and I said, you have to be, your facts have to be right. We have a lot of advocates, like in the medical field, we have a lot of misinformed advocates and doctors who spread a lot of misinformation, and that's very damaging. The biggest hurdle is the financial aspect on endo patients, which I wish the government would, take on board. We keep having conversations, well, especially in congresses, which we are now seeing more of here in Kenya as well. And we're told, oh yes, let's meet, let's do this, let's do that. Those meetings never happen, right?
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm sure it will change. We have now the narrative for endometriosis care, patient-driven care here in Kenya, in the last few years has changed tremendously, and I'm so proud of that. So accessibility as well becomes a less of a financial burden instead of traveling.
Okay. About the race, because to be honest, like you said, it takes a lot from you, and you have to dedicate time to it. So what has kept you going?
My faith in God. My faith in God never, and I don't think, when I found endometriosis and this journey and everything I've gone through in my life leading towards this as a purpose, and I've always told you this, my motto has always been turning pain into power, into purpose, right? So I can easily give up, because it's hard work. it takes a lot out of you, and you have to do this. We're not there, we're not doing it as I'm not an influencer, I don't have a massive following, you know. I'm not doing it for the fame and name and all of that. I'm doing it for the next generation. We've lived and we still live this pain day in, day out. You know, when that voice comes from deep, honest pain, it's a different voice.
Yeah, altogether, because
Yeah.
it's being driven by something else. There's a
Exactly.
purpose for it.
Yeah.
I remember once upon a time that part of your advocacy was really pushing for alternative therapy, right? And I'm just curious, have you made any progress with that? Whatever happened to it? Um,
So the thing is this, right? Back then, excision for endometriosis wasn't as readily accessible than it was now. So until you don't have the options to go and have an excision surgery done, which is the gold standard for endometriosis care, but by a trained excision specialist for endometriosis, not just a regular OBGYN. But until then, you have to try different modalities. So I was trying out different modalities. Acupuncture saved my life. You know, the Chinese herbal medication. I'm not promoting any medicine, or I'm not promoting any modalities. There's my disclaimer. But what helped me through my experience? It helped so much that I was actually managing and doing so much better until COVID hit. And then also accessibility to those modalities had reduced. And then I got COVID myself, which exacerbated the condition so bad, I had to go for my excision. So to date, I'm still doing acupuncture. I still use their medicine. Like I had cysts in my ovaries, which helped, dissolve them. I still highly believe in whatever works for you, and you can have it hand to hand. Then it makes the journey more manageable.
Okay, when you compare obviously the Kenyan landscape to what you've been seeing abroad, I mean, you've just mentioned South Africa, and I'm told that you do quite a lot of work with people abroad. So, what are you seeing outside that has greatly helped endo patients or warriors outside that we could probably borrow from, and you wish that Kenya was on such levels?
Well, now, had you asked me that question a few years ago, my answer would be very different to what it is now. The levels that we're escalating to for endometriosis care here, it's incredible. It gives me goosebumps every time I see the progress we have made here as Kenya. I mean, we have excision specialists. We have two incredible excision specialists. I can name them, Dr. Yamal Patel and Dr. Jagi. The work that they're doing here for endometriosis, a lot of the community internationally don't have access to endometriosis excision specialists, which we do now. You know, so I'm literally I get goosebumps because it's such a proud moment, especially in this endometriosis journey, because seeing that and having that here, it's incredible. So there's a lot that we all learn from each other. But again, as I said, the knowledge and the research that you do and gain, make sure it's from the right resources. It doesn't come just in the month of March. You know, yes, March is endometriosis month, but for all of us who actually live the battle and fight for it and fight for others, we do this advocacy work every day, every month, every year.
What else would you like to tell key stakeholders in the Ministry of Health in regards to endo?
Again, the financial burden. You know, if you take endometriosis as, I wish it was looked at as its own condition, because it's not just a menstrual disease. Endometriosis happens outside of the uterus. Okay, it's tissue similar to the lining of the uterus that grows outside where it doesn't belong. Adenomyosis, which is a sister condition to endometriosis, is what's constricted in the uterus. I'm not a medical professional, but I know enough, about endo. I've lived it myself, first-hand experience. And if they take it out from the reproductive board, because it's not a reproductive condition, it's moved so much far behind, and unfortunately it's been proven and shown on every single organ of your body,
Yeah.
every single organ,
So this is beyond that. Yeah. So it needs to be separated. It needs to be given its,
its own identity,
Yeah. Yeah.
your or entity as well, right? And if it was given that and it was covered by medical insurances, that is a complete game changer for a patient with endometriosis. Better quality of life, better future for our future generation. You know, this, I mean, it strips you of your education, it strips you of your work life, it strips you of your social life, it strips you of so much that, you know, we're not in a position where we can afford for our generations to be going through this.
Right. Tell us about what you're doing on ground to empower, women. How you're, participating in creating support structures. Because I see if you guys have support groups, it makes a difference for a lot of endo warriors.
It does. Support groups are a game change. Obviously, I work a lot with Doris from Endo Sisters East Africa. So the support groups that I'm part of, thanks to Doris, we work together hand in hand for that. In terms of, I'm a certified counselor. I'm just waiting to be registered now. I did counseling, so that counseling, when it comes from a first-hand person who's experienced it, makes it easier for you to understand and navigate the other person. In terms of other stuff, obviously I used to host a lot of, I used to do some art therapy sessions. Then COVID hit, everything changed, and I went through my journey of recovery and everything, so I want to get back into it. I did release my podcast on endometriosis, which was first of its kind in Africa, if not Kenya, called A Ray of Sunshine. It's now available on Apple and Spotify as well. It was on Capital FM SoundCloud. Yeah. I was happy because each episode hit over 20,000 views. Listens rather, yeah. So I was happy about that, because it's not about the views, it's about reaching it's the awareness is reaching out there. Yes, the content was very helpful. I interviewed, I had testimonies for endo patients, doctors, researchers. So I'm now in the process of starting the second season, which will be, I think, more heavier than what it was, because a lot has changed in the last few years.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, and last but not least, for somebody who's never heard about endometriosis, because we've seen that based on what we've been doing on the ground, and for those who just don't understand what this disease is, how would you describe it, in your own words, through your experience?
I've done a linear and a VR piece on what endometriosis looks like from the inner body. So I painted it, I drew it, and I created this whole piece called Invisible Pain. And I launched it last year as well. So I used art to showcase what it actually feels like. It's different for everyone, because there's no one size fits all. Even with endometriosis patients, what I feel may not be what you feel. Okay, it depends on the level, it depends on where the location is. It all depends on a lot of symptoms as well, and how far or where the progression of it is as well. But for me, it feels like fire trapped within you, trying to escape, you wrapped in a barbed wire and being juiced.
Wow.
It's a very painful condition.
It is.
And the thing is, it's not only physical and internal, it affects your mental health, which is a different ballgame on its own to handle if you're not strong. And everyone can't be strong. Not everyone's pain threshold is the same. And so this is endometriosis is a horror show gone wrong.
Last but not least, I want you to give your power message to Endo Warriors, and because we're hoping this is going to go far and wide, even for those who just gotten diagnosed and they're thinking, oh my God, what's all this? What's your power message?
So my power message for them is this: endometriosis is, it's debilitating, it's scary because of what's put out there, but you can do it. You've got this. You were given this for a reason. Don't give up. Make sure you have to empower yourself by getting right resources, educate yourself on it. You can't depend on the doctors because, again, we only have a handful of doctors around the world who actually know about endometriosis and excision for endometriosis and other treatments. Okay, empower yourself, question your doctors if you don't understand something, seek second opinions, third opinions. This is your body, your illness. Well, I don't say your illness because I never say endometriosis is mine. I disconnect it. It's something we have, you know, and we want to try manage it. Find empowerment in one, getting a diagnosis, because that's a massive empowering step. Learn about it, educate yourself about it through the right resources, find the right doctors, reach out. We're all here to help. Reach out. If you feel stuck, if you feel grounded, if you feel suffocated, we're all here.